because they're scientifically based and they're solid.
Jeez. What do I know?
Start with the beaches.
Well, you know, to be perfectly frank, I really, you know, the reason I am so focused on this topic, the brain, the mind-body stuff, is because that's kind of where I see, I'm invested in this. I want to be right about the trends. I don't want to be the guy with egg on his face, like, it's all about barefoot. You know, you're fools if you wear shoes. Fools! Just wait 10 years. I'll have the last laugh. You know, I want to be that guy. So, you know, I want to be right, and I'm putting a lot of chips into the brain stuff. And there's the thing I like about Samuel Marcora is like he's not trying to just do like really interesting studies that get a lot of attention. He's trying to create products you can buy, therapies, you know, just like different things you could actually do. Hopefully tomorrow. So a lot of this stuff is going to be real. It's not, you know, it hasn't completely shaken out yet, but there's a lot of potential. There's already some things like caffeine enhances performance. How? Makes exercise feel easier.
What about protein and power gel type products? I remember something about it. It doesn't really benefit you during the run physiologically, but somehow it tricks your brain into thinking, well, there's protein in my bloodstream, so I'm okay.
That's carbohydrate. I mean, it honestly does both. But yeah, there are carbohydrate receptors on your tongue that communicate directly to a pleasure center in your brain that lights it up. That's how caffeine works. You know, in the old days when, you know, exercise scientists were ridiculing Pavo Nurmi for calling muscles rubber, you know, it was believed that, okay, caffeine must like improve like fat burning or something. No, it doesn't. It works on this. It makes exercise feel easier. You have reserve capacity in your body at the finish line, always. But you can tap into it in certain ways. Caffeine is one of them. There are others, like this video game that Samuel Marcora created. But what it does is it tires out the part of your brain that has to stay focused. Have you ever driven 10 hours in a day, gotten out of the car, boom, you're exhausted. Well, how hard was your body working? It's like a big part of, the longer the race, the big part of what makes you hit the wall is your brain gets tired. So what he's trying to do is be able to tire out your brain outside the exercise context. So I actually played this game, and you know, I wanted to put a bullet through my head after 3 hours for it. But like, if you're motivated enough, you could like get supplemental training. Like you do your stuff that tires your body. You can only handle so much of it. Then you go home, play a video game. I don't know if that's going to be the thing, but these smiley faces. He's working on a product that will show you smiley faces when you work out. But there's going to be something very, very real. Transcranial magnetic something or other stimulation. Transcranial magnetic, putting magnetic waves into the brain enhances performance, endurance performance 4%. Just basically shock therapy. You have to target it to the right parts of the brain, otherwise you actually get X-ray vision. But you know, this stuff is going to shake out, but some of it's really garden variety. Like that's why I'm working on this book, is that if you're talking about, you know, non-elite athletes especially, there's a lot of stuff, simple stuff we're not doing. Like, you know, that reframing, turn nervousness and anxiety. You can use that tomorrow, you know, and a lot of us aren't. So there's going to be a bootstrapping where we figure out some of it will be, you know, crazy high-tech stuff. Some of it will just be, you know, making mental training as sophisticated as physical training is now. Even that can take us pretty far. Yes, in the corner. Sorry, you passed one already. I just want to.
Two things that always amaze me. I do multiple things. And I'll see folks that will do, say, running. They're running the way this guy trains, and they're not improving. And then, what do you need to do? And instead of them investing the time in what they need to do, they're buying all this stuff that someone else uses. It may not work for them. And my question, though, is, I have many times over the years met a lot of friends who have so much more endurance and speed than me, and then we want to run the races, and I smoke them. And what it is when they hit and start getting worn out, they and I persevere, which is how I was taught, and I get through that, and then it's as if I'm not even tired.
Yep.
How do you teach that? I had a very good coach. How do you teach that?
Yeah, you know, that's the thing. Like the number one job, well, it depends on the level of the athlete, but after the beginner level, a coach is really a therapist. It's like we all need a therapist, folks. It's like, you know, if you, like me, I was a workout hero. Some of the best races I ever had, I was all alone. There was no race, you know, and then on race day, someone like you was smoking me. And it's like, and you're sort of the opposite, like a gamer is what they call your type. And like, so, you know, you have a certain psychology working for you. You know, it's adaptive. Whereas I think like me, the workout hero has more of a maladaptive psychology. A lot of it comes back to self-trust. Like, you know, in a group workout environment, I felt like I could prove myself, I could assert myself when nobody was actually trying their hardest. Whereas an athlete with more inner trust is going to just hold back a little bit. Mark Allen was another one like that. Back in the 1980s, he trained. It was a small sport back then. Everyone was in San Diego. Mark Allen was the best triathlete in the world, but he trained with all the guys he had to beat in the races every day, and they would just destroy each other. But Mark was just like, he had a different thing going on, and he would let them do it, and then smoke them when it actually counted. So if you lack that self-trust, again, this is where I'm talking about a personal journey that's bigger than your athletic journey. It's like you want to work on that, you know, and you know a good coach can help you do that. But you know, at some point you need, you know, they say all change is self-change. You need to kind of sort of recognize that for myself. How do I build it? One of the things that's fun about How Bad You Want It, the book I'm working on now, is I'm telling stories about kind of household name athletes who have these same problems. You know, people who collapse in the middle of races, and there's nothing physically wrong with them. You know, that people at the highest level of the sport just coming undone because their mental game isn't right, and then overcoming it. And to me, there's a lot of inspirational power in that. And then when you kind of understand the scientific wherefore of like what was going on, what was the scientific nature of the problem, what was the scientific nature of how this athlete figured it out for herself to overcome. There's a lot you can take away from it. We're all going to fail. We're all going to be our own worst enemies as athletes somehow or another along the way. And it's fun to figure this stuff out and grow, you know, through that process. You still have a question?
Sorry.